A hero is an ordinary person who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. Good afternoon, and with this quote from Christopher Reeve, we welcome you to another edition of this wonderful program on radio, Education Today. Education Today is a program that aims to call attention of the public to education matters as they affect the effective running of the educational system and the achievement of educational goals. This comes on air every Saturday on this station, Light Radio. I am Saeed Aremu. Our goal is to educate, inform, orientate, and entertain the society on educational matters, address issues affecting the educational system, influence public opinion, and drive effective educational policy directions to guide the formulators and the implementers. For your comments, questions, and contributions, you can reach us on Facebook via www.facebook.com/lightradio, X at The Light Radio, Instagram light_radio, YouTube at Light Radio. You can also call or send a message to us via SMS or WhatsApp on 0809 738 4000. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, the program continues. Please stay with us. If you just joined in, you are listening to Education Today on Light Radio. We kick off, as is it our tradition, with the news segment. Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. KAZEEM.
Good afternoon, Said.
Yeah. So I have some items of news here, and I would like us to just quickly go over a couple of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Kogi University dismisses 4 lecturers for sexual misconduct and examination malpractice. What do you think about that?
Well, for the fact that the university has actually taken action, I think it's something that is commendable because a lot of students actually at the receiving end, there is this power imbalance between, the lecturer and the students, and you have a situation where a lot of people are actually facing harassment and molestation by being in school. And that's one of the reasons why we say that ordinarily this idea by a lot of parents, to send their very young, immature or underage, kids to the university at a very tender age, imagine 14, 15, you're rushing them to the university. How do you think they can cope? I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm only trying to say that now imagine if probably you have mature students that are already adults facing such a challenge. Issues of sexual harassment and the likes like that.
Yes.
Now imagine what would happen to someone who is an underage. It means you're actually trying to destroy such a child. So what we're saying is that, and I love the fact that the institution itself is one taking this decision. I'm sure all necessary processes would have been undertaken in terms of suspending lecture at the first instance, setting up an investigative committee to really unravel what really happened, how it happened, and try to establish, culpability on the part of whoever that is, found, guilty or whatsoever. The schools are not courts, but they have their own disciplinary process by which they can actually take action against such, lecturers or staff or whoever.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, if the victims feel satisfied with probably the result of such an action by the institution, fine. If they still feel that they actually want to take it up and probably take it further by taking criminal proceedings against such randy, so to say, lecturers, then the choice is that of the student. But for me, and I think what matters most is that we must ensure that justice is done, and not just being done, it must be seen to be done. And I think that such action by the institution will probably send a message of deterrence to other lecturers who probably have such in mind, that the school, has zero tolerance, for such an action.
All right, thank you very much for that. Perhaps I would say we need to review the laws regarding sexual harassment again in our country.
Well, I don't think we have enough laws that can cater for such. It's about implementing the law.
Oh yeah, okay.
And that's something. And I think that beyond probably the institutions, the security agencies and families that are involved, families of the victims, might also do well to ensure that the victims get justice. So, and at the end of the day, so if we don't, bury such or, keep such, if we don't disclose it, then the necessary actions might not be taken. And for a lot of people, the complaints have been, it's been a recurring complaint within our tertiary education system.
Actually,
people actually being molested. Yeah, you can imagine that particular scandal.
Yes,
that broke out. And it's not just in Nigeria.
Exactly, even in Ghana.
Even in Ghana and so many other institutions. See, it's a global thing. Even in the so-called sinner crimes,
of course,
even in the Western world, it's something that is, very, very real. We're only trying to say that the schools should actually be a safe haven for students to learn, and should not be a place where predators would actually feast on students as if they are prey, and destroy such lives rather than actually build, which is the exact purpose that education is meant to serve.
Yeah, of course, yes. Okay. There's an eye-catching news here, and I think I want us to just look at it a bit. So, Zulum, the governor of Borno State, launches summit to address Almajiri education. I mean, I want us to look at it from various angles, right? But what do you think about it?
Well, two things. The first is the fact that Nigeria, we have a very the last report that I saw of the UNICEF for this particular year says that Nigeria has about 15 million out-of-school population, and out of that, the Northeast has the second, is the second highest region with out-of-school population. The Southeast being, the least in that regard, and kudos to the people of the Southeast.
Kudos.
So now we have the Northwest being the worst affected, followed by the Northeast, followed by North Central, followed by the Southwest, followed by the South, and the Southeast has the least, just about some hundreds of thousands. In the Southwest are about 2 million, and in the North East it's close to about 6 million thereabout. And so if you have that, coupled with the fact that in Borno State they are still trying to recover, where they are still actually facing the challenge of insurgency and insecurity, and that has actually worsened the out-of-school population in that state. Now the government is actually trying as much as possible to bring the students back to school, and so that is on the one case. On the other, another angle to it is actually the fact that you have a situation where we have parents that actually give birth to children and feel that it is responsibility of the society or some other people to take care of them. So you now have a situation where they actually don't go to the conventional, Western education, school system. They probably some of them prefer this Islamic education, where they send a child to a particular malam, and that malam will teach them Quran. And at the end of the day, continuously, the responsibility of even fending for the child is actually, placed on, the shoulders of the malam teaching. You're not paying for the malam, and you're not even feeding your own child. Now, as a malam, you go and stay at just like a house help or whatsoever. That's the kind of system. The emergency system is something that is actually prevalent in the north, so it's not new to them. But then what we are trying to say is that is not good enough, because at the end of the day, these children live as destitute. Now, a lot of them, because of their affinity for the Islamic education, they see the Western education as a parallel line that cannot intersect with the Islamic education. So at the end of the day, a lot of them just have this Islamic education. Yes, they are literate in Arabic, but they can't read and write in English language. And Nigeria is, an English-speaking country, and officially that's our lingua franca. So at the end of the day, they're actually at a disadvantage. And at the end of the day, so you have a situation where now, ever since the period of former President Goodluck Jonathan, we have this trying to have a fusion of the Almajiri system with the Western education. So that at the end of the day, you have the Almajiri system of education with your Islamic education, and at the end of the day, you also have a fusion of the Western education. So you don't miss out of anything. So, but unfortunately, a lot of these states in northern Nigeria really did not follow up with that program. And at the end of the day, you have schools that were set up for that purpose and, being overgrown by grasses. So for the fact that you now have a Governor Zulum who is a professor, so he was well learned and understands the implication of having, illiterate children, those who are out of school, that those are the potential Boko Haram. And Borno says actually the epicenter of Boko Haram, insurgency in Nigeria. So I think it is apt. For me, it's even late, but it's better late than never that he's coming up with this, having a summit where it brings stakeholders together. Let us investigate, let us interrogate this particular challenge facing us as a state. Now, what do we need to do moving forward? How do we need to encourage more of these children to actually come up so that they can actually integrate them into the educational system within the state, and we can actually take them away from the potential, these terrorists who, for one reason or another, indoctrinate these children and brainwash them to become, Boko Haram. So I think this is something that is really, really commendable, and I would hope that other states in Nigeria, more importantly northern Nigeria, will take a giant step in addressing the issue of out of school, population in the country.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I would not want us to maybe delve more on that, but yeah, the Almajiri system is is actually a system that I have this very, very negative outlook towards it. Like, even the Islamic education, do they actually acquire between the arms begin and the aimless wandering? I mean, they have to, even by the name, they travel from regions to region, right? So where does the time actually come to be able to study the Islamic education? So,
see,
I don't think it's effective.
More of a cultural thing than religious. But at the end of the day, it's something that they don't want to leave. When you have a people that feel that this is part and parcel of who we are, it's our culture, and they want to retain it. Unfortunately, but it's actually proving to be a problem, and they are not seeing it from that perspective. And anyone who criticizes, they see it as a criticism of the North.
The North, exactly.
Or a criticism of their Islam. And unfortunately, you look at it, Saudi Arabia is actually the home of Islam, and yet the literacy rate, if it's not 100%, must actually be 99%. Go to Qatar, go to United Arab Emirates. So the question is, this area, Arabia, is actually the home of Islam, but you don't have this Almajiri system in that place. So the question then is, it's a cultural thing, not a religious thing, exactly. And we really need to address it seriously. And I think the federal government also need, and unfortunately, we have an agency in charge of that. An educational agency, yes. National Commission for Mass Literacy and whatsoever, something like that. And unfortunately, if you look at the head of that agency, it's actually a northerner. But the question you ask yourself is, what exactly did they do in that agency?
Exactly, what has it achieved since it was established? Well, so yeah, we hope for the best going forward.
All right.
There's actually another news I think I found quite interesting here, and particularly because of the air surrounding the agency, right? So the President Tinubu's tax reform bill, also is saying the reform bill itself is
it about
it's targeted at abolition debt fund. Do you think that's the case?
It is the long-term effect of eventually that bill is looking towards the scrapping of debt fund in the long run, I think. Yes, and that is because of the fact that it is a reform of the tax system in the country, and quite well that debt fund is a product of a tax system where about 3% of the company income tax of firms operating in Nigeria, they give to the government, and it is that money, 3% of their tax, of their profit, is charged as education tax. And that is what that is the source of revenue or the source of funds which TED Fund operates with. Now, it's an initiative that ASU came up with, and that's why, so you see, you can understand why ASU is like, so like, it's ASU's baby. Yes. And ASU feels that without TED Fund, a lot of our public institutions will die. See, they would die a natural death because the federal government has actually been found wanting in the funding of public tertiary institutions in Nigeria. In fact, public education generally. So unfortunately, so the only lifeline that is left with which you are able to see any infrastructure today in our tertiary institution, our public tertiary institution, is what we are now looking towards, probably as a form of tax reform that eventually, if care is not taken, might eventually lead to the scrapping or the extinction of TED Fund. So I think that for the government, these are part of the discussions that would eventually take place when the National Assembly debates the tax reform bill of the president. That debate has not started.
It has not started, yeah.
So I would not want us to preempt or conclude on something that has not even started. So, and I hope that the National Assembly would also allow for a broad stakeholder engagement on different aspects of the tax reform bills of the president, because it's not just one bill. So I think it's about four different bills. So different aspects of it is something that should be open to public engagement. So I would not want us to just kill the tax bill or kill TED Fund without having a robust engagement with critical stakeholders. So, and I believe that by the time we have this public hearing on this bill, by the time there is that's a serious debate in the National Assembly, the only thing is, I love the fact that ASU is crying foul now, so that everybody will be awakened to the reality of probably what is about to happen. Because the truth of the matter is, see, it's us versus them. It's a fact, whether we like it or not. The ruling elite versus the masses. So if you don't pay attention to what they do, before they just tell you it's the law. The same way they told us it's the law, and they wanted to come up with this 0.05%, what's it called, telecom tax. It was when Nigerians cried out and things like that, they had to relax it. So in the same vein, I love the fact that ASU is shouting now, so that everybody is put on the alert, so that whenever the Senate or the National Assembly generally, both the Senate and the House of Reps, would eventually debate this bill, we'll look forward to whatever they want to say. Then we can actually hold our representatives to account for whatever position they want to take on this matter. Then at the same time, we would demand that there should be a public hearing where everybody would be involved before that bill is eventually passed.
Now that was extremely procedural. Though, that's what we can take. But I believe the president would not willingly or purposely just decide to scrap
TED Fund.
Yes,
I'm sure he will.
Within
not
the tax reform bill.
I think it's something that probably first it's something that by the time you pay the adjusted VAT, then your tax, the education tax, the percentage is actually reduced, and over time, over a period, before it eventually goes away finally. So if you are not assured of a replacement or of how well our institutions will be funded, then we should not kill, the baby that is already actually laying the golden egg. So we don't have to kill the hen that lays the golden egg for us.
And we have to give kudos to ASU too for trying for, like you said. Right, so that's all we can take on the news for today. Right now, we will take the country in focus with Mr. KAZEEM.
All right. You're welcome to the Country in Focus segment, where we consider a particular country of the world, its basic features, and most importantly, its educational system for the benefit of our listeners. I am OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. The country in focus today is France. Yes, France. Officially the French Republic is a country located primarily in Western Europe. Its overseas regions and territories include French Guiana in South America, Saint Pierre and Miquelon in the North Atlantic and the French West Indies, and many islands in Oceania and the Indian Ocean. Metropolitan France shares borders with Belgium and Luxembourg to the north, Germany to the northeast, Switzerland to the east, Italy and Monaco to the southeast, Andorra and Spain to the south, and a maritime border with the United Kingdom to the northwest. Its metropolitan area has a total population of 68.4 million people as of January 2024. France is a semi-presidential republic with its capital in Paris, the country's largest city and main cultural and commercial center. Among other major cities are Lyon, Marseille, Nantes, Monaco, and Bordeaux. Historically and culturally among the globe's oldest nations, among the most important nations in the Western world, France has also played a highly significant role in international affairs, with former colonies in every corner of the globe. After having passed through different empires and republics, the current Fifth Republic was formed in 1958 by Charles de Gaulle. Algeria and most French colonies became independent in the 1960s, with the majority retaining close economic and military ties with France. France retains its centuries-long status as a global center of art, science, and philosophy. It hosts the fourth largest number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites and is the world's leading tourist destination, receiving 100 million foreign visitors in 2023. A developed country, France has a high nominal per capita income globally, and its advanced economy ranks among the largest in the world. It is a great power, being one of the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council and an official nuclear weapon state. France is a founding and leading member of the European Union and the Eurozone, as well as a member of the Group of Seven economies, that's G7, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, and Francophonie. France has a social market economy characterized by sizable government involvement and economic diversity. It is currently the world's 7th largest economy by nominal GDP and the 2nd largest in the European Union. France is considered an economic power with membership of the G7, leading industrialized countries, the OECD, and the G20. France is a semi-presidential constitutional republic. Key features of this republic includes the president, who serves as the head of state and government, elected by popular vote for a 5-year term, the prime minister appointed by the president and is responsible for overseeing the government. The National Assembly is the lower house of parliament, composed of 577 deputies elected by popular vote, and the Senate, which is the upper house of parliament, composed of 348 senators elected by indirect vote. In terms of its educational system, France is highly regarded and structured as follows. It has the primary education for ages 6 to 11 years, known as the École Primaire, which provides basic education in subjects like mathematics, language, and science. The secondary education for ages 11 to 18 is the college and lycée, provide secondary education with students pursuing either general or vocational tracks. The third leg is the tertiary education for ages 18 plus years. That includes the universities and grand écoles offering undergraduate and graduate programs in various fields, and vocational education, which offers vocational training programs such as apprenticeship and certificate d'aptitude professionnelle (CAP). Some notable features of France's educational system includes the fact that education is free for all citizens, including higher education. Admission to top universities and grand écoles is highly competitive, and French education places a strong emphasis on critical thinking, analysis, and problem solving. That's it on the Country in Focus segment for today. I hope you have learned something about the French Republic. I remain OLUBUNMI. KAZEEM Education Today continues in a moment. Please stay with us.
That was the Country in Focus segment with Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Right now, we'll take the question of the week. Good day and welcome to the segment for the profession of the week. I am Saeed Aremu. In this segment, we x-ray a particular profession or field of human endeavor within the educational sector, and I will be telling you what it is about, the knowledge and educational qualifications required for admission into tertiary institutions, the years of training required, and the schools that have the accreditation to offer these courses. On today's episode, we shall be considering firefighting. Firefighting is a noble and vital profession that combines bravery, skill, and a commitment to public safety. The roots of organized firefighting trace back to ancient civilizations, with evidence of structured firefighting systems in Rome, Greece, and Egypt. Modern firefighting, however, began to take form during the 17th and 18th centuries with the establishment of fire brigades and the invention of firefighting equipment. Over time, the profession has evolved to include various roles, specialized training, and a broader scope of responsibilities. Firefighters are tasked with numerous critical duties that ensure the safety and well-being of the communities that they serve. These include fire suppression, which involves responding to emergencies, extinguishing fires, and rescuing trapped individuals or animals from hazardous situations. Also, emergency medical services by providing urgent medical care and transportation in emergency situations. They also perform rescue operations by undertaking complex rescues such as freeing individuals from collapsed buildings, vehicles, or other precarious environments. They do fire prevention and education by conducting safety inspections, educating the public on fire prevention techniques, and enforcing fire codes. And finally, they also perform hazardous materials response by managing and mitigating incidents involving dangerous substances like chemicals or explosives. Firefighters are literally real-life superheroes. So the firefighting profession encompasses a variety of specializations, each tailored to unique environments and challenges. There are career firefighters who are full-time professionals employed by a municipal or private fire department. There are volunteer firefighters who usually are community members who offer their services without any form of financial compensation. Then there are wildland firefighters who are specialists that combat wildfires in forested or rural areas. There are also airport firefighters who are experts trained to handle aircraft-related fire emergencies, and there are industrial firefighters who are firefighters that operate in high-risk industrial settings like factories or refineries. Becoming a firefighter demands rigorous training and certification to ensure preparedness for the profession's demands. You need to attend a fire academy. You need to take part in fire academic training by participating in a comprehensive instruction in fire suppression, safety protocols, and equipment use. Then, of course, there is the emergency medical technician (EMT) certification, which is a training in emergency medical care and transportation. There is also specialized training, which are advanced skills in areas like hazardous material response or technical rescue, and there is also continuing education for you to engage in ongoing learning to stay updated on evolving technologies and techniques. Firefighting is inherently hazardous, exposing professionals to numerous risks. Some of these risks are physical risks, which are injuries from intense heat, structural collapses, or explosions. There is also the mental health risks associated with the profession. These are high levels of stress and the potential for post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD) due to exposure to traumatic events. There is a very high cancer risk, which occurs from prolonged exposure to carcinogens like asbestos and benzene, and there are equipment risks, which are accidents involving heavy machinery or vehicles. In Nigeria, firefighting dates back to the colonial era with the establishment of the Lagos Fire Brigade in as far back as 1906. Today, the country's firefighting landscape comprises federal, state, and private agencies working together to enhance public safety. However, several challenges persist, including inadequate funding, outdated equipment, and limited training opportunities. The key agencies in Nigerian firefighting include the Federal Fire Service, which is FFS. This is the principal agency providing nationwide firefighting services. There are also state fire services, which are operated by individual state governments, often with constrained resources. And finally, there are private fire services which serve industries and organizations with specialized needs. Education and training are provided by institutions such as the Federal Fire Service Training School and the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology, alongside private training centers like Piston and Fusion and Deslog Training and Consulting Limited. firefighting offers tangible economic benefits alongside its societal importance. For career firefighters, employment provides stable incomes, healthcare benefits, and retirement pensions. In Nigeria, the profession is increasingly recognized as a viable career path, with salaries varying based on experience, rank, and sector between the government and private among government and private employers. Specialized roles such as fire inspectors or fire engineers often command higher wages due to their technical expertise. Beyond direct financial compensation, firefighting stimulates the economy by driving demand for fire safety equipment, training programs, and consultancy services. Industrial and airport firefighters in particular are integral to industries that require advanced fire safety protocols, contributing to the broader economic stability and growth. Firefighting is a challenging yet rewarding profession that serves as a cornerstone of public safety. From ancient Rome to modern-day Nigeria, the evolution of firefighting highlights the profession's enduring importance. Despite risks and challenges, firefighters exemplify courage and resilience, making significant contributions to communities and the economy. As the field continues to evolve, investments in training, infrastructure, and equipment remain critical to ensuring its effectiveness and sustainability. That's it on the portion of the week for today. I am Saeed Aremu. Education Today continues. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Education Today on Light Radio. Right now, we are moving into the discuss segment, and our guest is here with us already. We are discussing rewarding excellence in Nigeria's educational system. Rewarding excellence in Nigeria's educational system. Joining us on the program today, we have an educational administrator, a lecturer, a researcher, an educational consultant, and our in-house analyst, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Good afternoon, Mr. KAZEEM.
Good afternoon, Said.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Said. Good afternoon to our listeners. It's a pleasure to be here as always.
Yeah, thank you very much. Remember, you can be a part of this discourse by sending your comments and questions to 0809-738-4000, or even better, you can drop your comments via the live video feeds on Facebook and YouTube. Before moving into the discourse proper, our short quiz question. What is the name of the French leader who formed its Fifth Republic? What is the name of the French leader who formed its Fifth Republic? I think I know the answer to that, but yeah, it's not a question for me. It's for you, our listeners. Remember, you can send the answer to the WhatsApp number 0809-738-4000 or our Facebook or YouTube page. The first correct answer wins the prize. So, Mr. KAZEEM.
Yeah.
Yeah. let's look at rewarding educational excellence in our educational system. Okay, rewarding excellence in Nigeria's education system. I mean, it's a very, very interesting topic, and yeah, I can't really wait to see where this actually leads us and what we're able to like come out of it, come up with it at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So
rewarding excellence within the educational system. And here, we're talking about the fact that the currency of Nigeria's educational system is that where it is inadequately funded. We have school system and educational system. Yes, although we have different layers, we have the in terms of levels, we have the pre-primary, primary, secondary, and tertiary levels of education, and you also have different stakeholders involved in terms of the control of education. You have the federal government involved, you have the state government involved, you have the local government involved. But then, generally speaking, you have a situation where education is no longer a priority within this country, and that's why you have a situation where students will tell you that school is a scam. Education is a scam. Now who school help? Now who book help? Because a lot of people have become disenchanted, disillusioned with the with the education they are getting, and because they feel like those who even acquired the education have nothing to show for it. And at the end of the day, so what then is the conviction for them to really, put in a whole lot of effort to say that yes, we want to, give our best and what have you? Because this is a country where people who graduate from school, or people who perform excellently, who best student in the class, best, overall in a particular level, best in this subject, best in that subject, best student in the school, best student in Y, best student in NECO, best student in JAM, and at the end of the day, you even struggle to get scholarships for them. That is what all they are able to get. You see students graduate first class, 2-1, best graduate student in the department, best graduate student in the university, best graduate student in the college, best graduate student in the polytechnic, and at the end of the day, go to convocation ceremonies. Probably except for one or two schools, the prominent ones, especially that you have in the city centers. Go to some schools that you have in the hinterlands, or some state schools. In this country, the best graduate of a particular university has been given a goat before. So that's the kind of education system that we run. And that's why at the end of the day, you have a situation where some people feel like, don't worry, you go to school, let me go and work. By the time you graduate from school, I'll be the one that would employ you. That's the kind of mentality that a lot of people have. And that's the kind of system that we run. That whether the teachers, the students, or the institutions themselves really have nothing to show for their excellence, the culture of excellence that they have tried to sustain over the years. And at a point, they get frustrated. A lot of them feel like, why do we even want to bother ourselves? Because at the end of the day, what do we get in return?
that's all.
So the education system has become a situation where it's a case of it is those that have money that runs the show. You have a school that even if you are a teacher, you're doing very well. So you look at some of these private schools. No matter how good you are as a teacher, if you probably mistakenly have one issue with probably a particular parent whose child is not doing well, and it's not a fault of the teachers, but that of the student. But then probably the teacher now decides to probably scold or whatsoever. The next thing is the parents will come and warn the school administrator, be it the principal or the head teacher, that warn this particular teacher, if not I will withdraw my child from the school. And the next thing is they come and say, hey, auntie, uncle, please be very, very careful the way you handle this particular boy, because the mother or the father is one of the financiers of this school, and we don't want to lose him. So please, whatever you can do or any other thing. So you have such that even excellence now becomes a commodity that goes to the highest bidder. Some people are just given, for instance, double promotion without merit. Some are given some prizes, some awards, just to have something to motivate or encourage the parents to continue to do more for the school, not because the child really merits it. So that's the kind of system that we run, and I think it's not a palatable state for our school system at the moment, because they can see what others that are not in school, that are probably participating in some other activities, especially when it comes to entertainment, what they are getting in return.
Actually, I think that answers the question of like importance of why we actually do need to promote it. Yeah, before I actually move to the next question, I would like you to distinguish between education and schooling, right? Because I think it is possible, right, to if you actually acquire the proper education, you should be able to make headway for yourself. I don't know, just like.
All right, thank you very much. Schooling is just an aspect of education. Schooling is not the totality of education in itself, and that's why, because even education takes place outside the four walls of the school system. So that's why education is not limited to what you learn in the school, and that's why for a lot of people learn to understand the fact that education takes place in different forms. You have the formal education, you have the informal education, and the non-formal education. So the one that takes place within the schools is under the guidance of the school is what we call the formal education, and there are other forms that take place outside the school. So it's not limited to that. And you might also have a situation where some people actually go through the school. Yes, they are attending school, but really cannot see a manifestation of education in them. Because at the end of the day, if you look at it, what exactly do they profess in terms of their cognitive domain, their affective domain, and the psychomotor domain? What exactly can they do? What exactly can they offer as a service? What is their level of intellectualism? What's the level of their skills? What's the level of their attitude, their morality, their behavior, their disposition to things, which would really show whether or not they are educated. So for me, education is the most important thing, because it's possible that you go to school and you're not educated, and it's possible that you're educated without actually going to school. So let us not mix the two together. But then schooling is a form of education, and it constitutes what we call the formal education system.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. KAZEEM. Now, on that basis, do we currently have systems in place, maybe like policies or initiatives by the government, by schools, whatever, that are geared towards rewarding educational excellence?
Yeah, it's both yes and no. Officially, there are no clear-cut policies to say that this is how you reward excellence. It's at the discretion of the school, at the discretion of the government, or on the basis of the available resources. So it's not as if there is a clear-cut policy that this is what you must do. And that's a missing link. Because I'm saying this in the light of the fact, let me just give an instance. For tertiary education, for instance, in some schools, you have a situation where the best graduating student of a particular department is a policy where the schools would say, okay, the best graduating student of the department will be offered automatic employment after graduation, as a way of retaining the best brains within the school system. But a lot of times, some of these have actually proven to be unsustainable. So you have a situation where the school might implement it for 1-2 years, and they suspend it. They might suspend it for another 10 years, and probably at another time they bring it up again, they suspend it again. So there is inconsistency in that regard. And you probably even go to the lower level, it's not as if there is a clear-cut policy. For instance, what's the clear-cut policy for, say, okay, whoever that actually graduates as the best, the best performing student in probably WASC or the National Common Entrance?
Exactly.
Do we have anything?
No.
So that's why I'm saying that it's both a yes and no. So in some schools, they have the policy in place for that the best graduate student might say that, okay, the best student probably in a particular class will probably receive automatic tuition free free tuition for the following session. Some would say that the best, like kind of scholarship for
postgraduate studies, something like that.
But it's not clear cut. It's not in black and white. So that's why I say, if you say it's a policy, it's more like a convention that is left at the discretion of the school to say that, okay, this is what we'll do for you. This is what we'll do for this set of people. It might be a particular set, and the government council might say, as a way of encouraging and motivating those that are currently there, or this set of students for their wonderful performance, let us do this. And after probably 1 or 2 years, my said, we don't get money again. Let's hold on.
Yeah, this
So-
is actually like reality, right? There are a lot of like should I call them endowment that, for instance, first class students used to get most of Lagos, and for a couple of years now, about 5 or 6, they've stopped giving them over the excuse of no money, right? So now, I would also like want to mention, right, that when I was much younger, there was this one day governor that particularly Lagos government used to like award
The best student in the spelling bee competition.
Exactly. Perhaps we could have something like that too for this institution, because I mean, it was ceremony that you know you are just not there for anything, but at least just
It's something that everyone will look up to.
exactly.
And it's a motivating factor for anyone that is participating in that competition. Beyond probably the prize money that is attached with that particular competition, you also have that symbolic award, and your name goes into record that as a governor for that one day, so and so things like. Now the truth is, that is because you have it in Lagos. Okay, outside Lagos.
Yeah, I know it is in Lagos, but outside Lagos it's inexistent, non-existent.
So that's what we are saying. That see, it's left at the discretion of whoever that is probably in charge. And mind you, we talk about rewarding excellence. It's not limited to students. How about teachers?
How about teachers? Exactly.
How about other teaching staff? How about the institution or the school itself? Okay, look at now. You gave example of the one day governor of Lagos.
Yes.
Because the student wins the debate spelling competition, spelling bee competition.
Yes.
Now the question then is, how about the teacher that prepared such a student for that competition?
Exactly.
Do we have anything?
No.
How about the school that presented such a student for the competition? What do we have in place for them? See, these are issues. They say, this is what we have. You see, that's why I want to talk about the promoting the culture of excellence in education. Let us not just look at it that, okay, that particular child alone. How about the teachers?
The teacher that prepared the child.
The
school.
How about the school that presents such children or that trains such children, such students?
Yes.
See, that's what we are talking about. That see, we need to look at it comprehensively to understand the fact that there is a need for us to encourage the students and the educators and the institutions where we are trying to promote this culture. Because we're talking about the fact that people are going to school and they have nothing to show for it. See, when a child misbehaves, and so what? So what then? Have you to show for it?
In fact,
see, there are many first-class graduates out there that are unemployed.
And to some people, that's like very interesting stories.
See, very, very terrible.
He had first class and yet he's still unemployed.
So you look at it.
Yeah.
That.
So KAZEEM, talking at it comprehensively, right? I think technology can help, right? But in what way? Like, how do you actually think we should be able to use technology to reward or to support the recognition and reward of excellence in education?
Well, first is because there must be metrics for measuring excellence.
Okay.
So now we can leverage on technology in setting up or drawing out these metrics for which schools, students, or teachers or staff can actually be evaluated and ranked.
Okay.
Then technology also affords us a level of objectivity and sincerity in the evaluation system, such that we don't reduce it to the whims and caprices of those who are in charge. Let me give you an instance. That, for instance, we have a competition, and at the end of the day, if it is subjective, if we throw away objectivity, if we leave it to the discretion of those that are in charge, a lot of times such a system will get abused. Look at one of the things that actually saved JAM and the integrity of the UTMS system in determining the best performing student is because of technology. Because at the end of the day now, see, there is a level playing field for everyone. And you have reduced human intervention in the whole process. So it is open, transparent, and accountable. So at the end of the day, you are assured of the fact that whatever the outcome that comes out of this process is something that is reliable and objective. And at the end of the day, so that reduces the sentiments and the parochial interest that usually comes into the evaluation system and the metrics that we set out for, determining the best in one thing or the other. Now, let me give you an instance. If you talk about a school system, if you don't have a metrics, a metric, system that with which we are able to rank their performance in a way that reduces human, involvement or human, manipulations. Technology can give us that. Okay, let me give you an instance. Look at our tertiary institutions. How, for instance, we want to say, okay, this is the best performing lecturer? Or how do we often even evaluate the performance of our teachers? Yeah. And do we get feedbacks from our students? A lot of times students might have their sincere feedback they want to give on a particular, person, a particular lecturer. But then they are afraid that, Yorubas will say, anyway, not my book, so you are the one that want to say this. So a lot of them are afraid that if we give our sincere feedback, sincere opinion, will there not be backlash?
Actually.
But if, for instance, it is done in such a way that you cannot really know the identity
of whoever left,
if there is anonymity,
yes,
with which, and that is one thing, technology can afford you such an opportunity where you can actually provide an anonymous response, to it, so that you cannot say this is exactly the person who supplied this particular information. Now, people will come out to give their sincere opinion on whatsoever, and at the end of the day their ratings and whatsoever would be objective. But if at the end of the day you want to throw it open, then before you know, you might say, oh, we belong to the same religion, we attend the same church, or she's from my ethnic group, and so many other things like that happen. So at the end of the day, what would happen? We bring in tribalism, religious sentiments, political interference, and what have you into the system. And that is something that we really need to guard against. Even this level where at the end of the day you can see where, with our normal system, there is a level of rigidity that people bring in. But if you probably infuse technology, so you can say that if you can do this, for instance, you can decide that if you are very, very good as probably even a lecturer or a student, you can actually skip some levels and probably get to a higher level on the basis of your performance, because we're talking about excellence. Just like the same way you would say that, okay, some students are gifted, and on the basis of their aptitude and their intelligence quotient, with which after testing them, they can actually skip some levels where you can put them where they are best suited. Do you get what I'm trying to say now?
Yes.
Now, at that level, it's something that technology can actually do. But if you have to leave it to everyone and say, no, you have to wait for your turn. Do you get what I'm trying to say now?
Yes.
Or that if you're a lecturer, if you do well and you're able to solve some problems, you're able to do this, yes, you can actually skip some levels. I can say, oh, from this level, you probably become an associate professor, or you can become this. So that at the end of the day, it will promote excellence in research, in teaching, and in so many other things like that, in innovations, discoveries, without having to say no, you cannot, until you have to go through this level, this number of years you must spend on this particular level before you can move. At the end of the day, we are killing actually the culture of excellence.
Yeah, thank you very much for your wonderful insight as always, Mr. KAZEEM. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, the program continues. Please stay with us.
someone comes from, regardless of the social status, regardless of the religion, regardless of the gender. So far as the person meets up and is able to perform excellently well, then they get whatever.
They get rewarded.
They get rewarded. So
Yes.
that is something we really need to look at. So by the time we do, and probably by the time we infuse technology, and at the end of the see, what matters most is the openness and transparency of the whole process. And at the end of the day, the metrics that you're using, let it be known so everybody knows. So it's not a case of we don't even know how they arrived at.
In education excellence, and again, how can stakeholders work together to promote like culture of excellence in our education system in Nigeria?
Well, first is that let us even know what exactly do we expect them to do. There are different things that we can do to encourage people to actually strive to attain excellence within the educational sector. And like I said earlier, we have ideas for students, we have ideas probably even for teachers and even for the institutions. First is like for the students, that some of the things we want to see is a situation where there'll be more scholarships and not less of student loan. We want more scholarships for those who are intellectually sound. Are you with me? So a situation where probably tuition free, free accommodation, or even scholars hostels and things like that. We're expecting that.
Okay.
That is merit based.
Yeah, of course.
Then we also talk about probably awards and certificates, probably a graduation ceremony. We don't want a situation where you only have certificate, best graduation student, and nothing attached to it. And someone will go and actually open, expose her nakedness, and at the end of the day, win millions of naira as most beautiful whatsoever nonsense. Or some people, adults will go inside a room and stay there for days, eating free food, winning free money, and at the end of the day, they get hundreds of millions of naira. And the best graduating student who has done a research, who has done, so many things, proving himself from 100 level to 400 level or 500 level, goes home, gets 5,000 naira in book price. And at the end of the day, you won't see the book. And you won't get the money. So we don't want that.
Of course.
Beyond that is also, there are some other privileges that we might actually give them, like special library access. Do you get?
Yes.
Mentorship programs, internship opportunities.
Of course, internship opportunities very important.
One-on-one meetings with icons and industry leaders and things like that. There are things that we can do. How about public recognition? Let us celebrate them. Let us put their names out there, so that at the end of the day, everybody sees and things like that.
Motivated.
They get motivated. I also want my picture to be hung there, or I also want a station where one day I will probably this particular thing will be named after me and things like that. These are opportunities that we can give for teachers. Better salaries, cars, so housing, and so many other things research grants. Including for the students. Opportunities to travel for conferences, opportunity for higher education, so many things. There are so many things that we can. In fact, automatic employment.
Exactly.
With competitive remuneration. Let me tell you, I'm saying this because let me tell you, there are people that have been given automatic employment even within the university system. And at the end of the day, as a scholar, you graduated with first class.